Under one person, plus Soul Street, plus Bad Handsome, plus Semi-Invincible, plus System, Litan's travels through the world of one person, and begins the Luotian festival against Wudang Wangyi. He, who was about to become cannon fodder, unexpectedly awakened his martial spirit body and bound it to the Guardian Spirit Lottery system. Take out the T0 level martial spirit Li Yuanba and activate Li Tang's bloodline. Next, Litan's will confront the King of Thunder, the blood-cruel Ting Jr. uncle, and scare Zhuge Qing. Look at the foolish old master. When the all-around alien besieged Longhu Mountain, Litan's just sneered, I still have 23 guardians like this, 24 heroes of Lingyan Pavilion. Chapter 001 Man at Luotian Festival, beginning with Li Tangwu's divine body. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Put your brain here, come with me in the car, friendly reminder. Bad Handsome summoned in Chapter 25. Bauer, I can't stand it anymore. Where did you learn these moves? Su Si taught me. My full name is Wei 18 for no discount after finishing work. Grass, wait for me to call Su San and praise Su Si for that bastard. Longhu Mountain, Tianchi Mansion. In the wooden room where the participants of the Luotian festival live. Listening to the familiar sound coming from the next door, Li Tian's moved his eavesdropping ears away. He sat on the damp wooden bed and made sure that Feng Baobao and Zhang Chulan were next door. Completely accepting the fact of one's journey. This is a world under one person, where he is participating in the annual Luotian festival on Longhu Mountain. This Luotian festival is the first time it has been open to the entire alien world. As long as you win the crown of Luotian de Jiao, you can obtain the degree of Heavenly Master and become the next Heavenly Master in charge of Longhu Mountain. But in fact, this is a platform set up by the Heavenly Master Zhang Jiwei for Zhang Chulan, who doesn't want to have a green lotus. Strange people from all sides are surging in the dark, all hoping to use their own power to control the direction of the competition, so as to eliminate Zhang Chulan and obtain one of the 8 wonderful skills. Qi Body Source Stream. In order to crush the coveting of Zhang Chulan by the Wang family, LV family, and various outsiders in the 10 Masters Association. As the only descendant of the Trinity sect, Lu Jin even presented one of the 8 wonderful skills, the Tongtian technique, as a reward for voluntarily giving up the position of Heavenly Master after winning the championship at the Luotian festival. For a moment, the world was shocked by the strange people. Countless leaders and proud individuals from various sects and schools have gathered at Longhu Mountain. For the sake of the Heavenly Talisman or the Heavenly Master's degree. These young leaders from the exotic world will all sacrifice their efforts to maintain their families and compete at all costs. The struggle between different people, the needle against the wheat on, is inherently a cruel struggle. The winner is the king, while the loser has nothing but to be beaten to pieces. This simple truth should be understood by people, right? Can is Li Tian's, the predecessor, a mentally disabled person? What is the reason for the idle egg pain pretending to be an outsider and participating in the lively Luotian festival? The most amazing thing is that the predecessor managed to get through the chaotic battle of 4 people and successfully advanced to the next round. Li Tian's looked at the nail vermilion sparrow sign he had drawn in his hand with an indescribable expression, as he wished to strip his predecessor alive. As a staunch fan of exotic comics, he has a deep understanding of the development of Luotian de Jiao. As one travels through time, disrupting their original development, everything becomes an unknown. Drawing a draw from Jia Zhuge, the opponent we will face in the next round is Wudang Wangyi. Wang not only possesses a perfect Tai Chi technique, but is also a leading sorcerer today, and is also a descendant of one of the 8 wonderful skills, the Wind Queen sect. Even Zhuge Qing, a descendant of Marquis Wu, was only beaten in front of Taoist Wangyi, let alone an ordinary person. Once this is matched, if you break your arm or leg, you may not even be able to save your life. Thief, my goodness. The predecessor of the dog. You guys teamed up to prank me, right? Luotian angrily pointed at the light bulb in the room, his face full of anger. We have already reached this point, and if we stand up at this point and confess that we are not strangers. The next days for Luotian it's not human life anymore. The company will never give up and invite itself to tea every once in a while. Some eliminated narrow-minded individuals may also find themselves in trouble. At that time, Luotian will be entangled by different factions for a lifetime, and in the end, he will not even have a good end. Pit Dad, Bitterbee, break through the big defense. Just as Luotian was about to cry without tears. With a loud bang, the lights went out. A cold electronic sound sounded in Luotian's ear. Ding. Detect host reaching emotional peak. Successfully bound the Guardian Spirit Lottery System. Determine the host as descendants of Li Tang, Li Shimin. The Li Tang bloodline has been activated for the host, awakening the 24 generals' divine bodies. As soon as he finished speaking, Luotian felt his body tingle. The majestic blood gushed out of the dantian and rushed into his ordinary body. The blazing breath seeped into the 8 extraordinary meridians, washing away his ordinary soul. In a pitch-black environment, Luotian's body fainted a circle of visible blue light. The blue light was like ripples, enveloping him layer by layer. The creaking sound of bones and the audible sound of muscle tears kept ringing. Until half an hour later, Luotian suddenly opened his eyes, and even in a pitch-black environment, he could see everything around him clearly. Looking into the mirror in front of him, he found that his muscles had grown twice, and blue spiritual energy was lingering around his 10 fingertips. Who? Luotian exhaled a mouthful of turbid air, with the corners of his mouth slightly raised. 24 generals with divine bodies, descendants of Li Tang, guardians of the spirit lottery system. Heaven never dies for me. Whether one can become a spirit sender depends on whether their ancestors are hard or not. The harder the ancestor is, the stronger the guardian spirit is, and the stronger the spirit sender's strength is. My predecessor's surname was Li, and it turned out to be Li from General Li Shimin of Tiance. This alone has given him the capital to rival those extraordinary leaders. The 20.4 heroes of Lingyan Pavilion in the prosperous era of the Tang dynasty were like dragons and tigers, and any one they picked out as a guardian spirit was capable of dominating the realm of outsiders. And the martial spirit body is an extremely rare physique. Ordinary spirit senders can only have one guardian spirit, while martial spirit bodies can have several or even dozens of guardian spirits. When these gluttonous generals who dominate one side are listed. Not to mention being a novice Wudang king, even if the holder of the 8 extraordinary skills rushes forward, Luotian will not be afraid. Wait, although the system has given itself spiritual power and martial spirit body. But I don't have a guardian spirit myself. Luotian was slightly stunned, and electronic sounds once again entered his ears. Detected that the host is in a dangerous situation and cannot survive for 24 hours. Reward a free chance to draw a guardian spirit. The guardian spirit is composed of divine souls and cannot be forcibly stripped off by any spell. As you are a descendant of Li Tang, all the guardian spirits drawn are from the Tang dynasty's powerful generals. May I ask the host, would you like to immediately extract the guardian spirit? Looking at the sudden appearance of the blue panel in front of him, Luotian's eyes flashed with hope. He was still a bit worried, afraid that his guardian spirit would be restrained by one of the 8 wonderful skills, the soul-binding dispatch. But now, the system directly provides a supreme buff that the guardian spirit cannot be forcibly stripped off. This undoubtedly gave Luotian a powerful calming pill. In the world of strangers, strength is everything. At that time, there were already undercurrents surging on the Dragon and Tiger Mountain, and all sex demons lurking in every corner. A great war is on the verge of breaking out. The faster you obtain the guardian spirit, the faster you can master human spiritual skills, and only then can you find a way to survive on this perilous Dragon and Tiger Mountain. Draw now. He didn't have time to think, he raised his voice to extract the guardian spirit. Next second, a phantom turntable appeared on the blue panel. With the movement of the turntable, hundreds of heroic souls of Tang dynasty generals were listed out. Li Jing, Duke of Wei, Shui Rengui, Duke of Pingyang, Qing Yaojin from the three-board axe, Wei Zheng from the dream of dragon slaying, and Sun Wuji, the leader of the Lingyan Pavilion, among others. These Tang dynasty heroes, no matter which one they draw as a guardian spirit, can greatly increase their strength. If one could smoke one of the 24 ministers of Lingyan Pavilion or one of the 18 heroes of Sui and Tang dynasties, the improvement in strength is even more remarkable. Immediately after, the turntable came to a sudden halt. A cold electronic sound once again echoed in Luotian's ear. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the Guardian Spirit extraction. System detection. The Guardian Spirit is a human martial spirit. Ranked 3rd on the People's Martial Spirit Power Ranking. Guardian Spirit Strength Rating is SSS level. The average combat power rating is the same as that of the 8 wonders. Obtaining the Guardian Spirit is Wang Buxiang and Li Yuanba, the King of Zhao in the Western Mansion. Chapter 002. Guardian Spirit Li Yuanba, First Battle of Wudang King Yi. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Li Yuanba. Luotian looked at the name on the virtual panel and was completely stunned. Wang cannot surpass Xiang, strength cannot surpass Ba. It's about the two strongest innate aliens in history, Xiang Yu and Li Yuanba. Li Yuanba is the reincarnation of the heavenly golden pine, with the invincible power of the 4 symbols in his arms. He holds a pair of 800-pound drums, jars, and golden hammers, with infinite power. 1,000 years ago, during the Sui and Tang dynasties, Li Yuanba fought for supremacy and killed 1 million soldiers on his own, using 2 moves to slay the unparalleled extraordinary Yuan Qingdu. For a moment, the scenery was boundless, and all the heroes in the world were amazed by it. From the perspective of an outsider, Li Yuanba is an innate outsider with a rich spiritual energy to the extreme. Invincible in the world, he raised his hammer to fight against the heavenly way, intending to break through the barrier between immortals. But it angered the sky, sending down 100 thunderbolts, and ultimately unable to fight the sky with its flesh and blood. A spirit can obtain an SSS-level combat power rating comparable to the 8 wonders. This shows the terrifying combat power of Li Yuanba. Just as Luotian was shocked, the system panel in front of him changed, and an electronic sound once again entered his ear. Ding! Li Yuanba has entered the host martial god's body. Guardian Spirit Li Yuanba Proficiency 30%. System Prompt. You can gain some proficiency by defeating each outsider. Defeating special outsiders, such as 8 wonder skill holders, 10 heroes, and comprehensive masters, can earn up to 99 proficiency points. After the current Guardian Spirit proficiency reaches 100%, the next Guardian Spirit can be drawn. Note: among the Guardian Spirits that descendants of Li Tang can extract, there are Divine Martial Spirits and Immortal Martial Spirits. Wishing the host an early gathering of 20.4 generals, initiating the transformation of martial arts and dominating the realm of aliens. After saying these things, the system panel disappeared suddenly. Inside, there is only endless darkness left. Upon seeing this, Luotian couldn't help but clench his fist. Defeating aliens. Can you gain proficiency and draw the next Guardian Spirit? If he were to attack outsiders casually outside, Luotian would be highly likely to be treated as a universal demon, provoking the pursuit of the company in various righteous sections. But now, he is in the Luotian festival. All battles on the arena are allowed. Moreover, the participants in the Luotian festival are not just ordinary people. There are as many as 4 holders of the 8 wonderful skills. Zhang Chulan, Wang Yi, Feng Xingtong, Wang Bing. These 4 people each have 8 unique skills. As long as you defeat one, you will have a chance to draw a guardian spirit. Wang Bing and Feng Xingtong's restrained spirit sent generals in front of their martial god bodies, like grandsons meeting their grandfathers. The Wind Queen Gate of Taoist Wang Yi is certainly a demon, but the guardian spirit Li Yuanba is composed of divine souls and cannot afford a battle. Zhang Chulan has already been recommended to the finals by the Heavenly Master. Facing an outsider with a 10-year cultivation window, as long as she advances to the finals, she will definitely achieve these 99 proficiency points. As long as the dog is transported away, after this Luotian ceremony, there will be at least 2 or 3 more guardian spirits in Li Tian's martial spirit body. Next up. Who? Li Tian's spiritual light moved and he exhaled a mouthful of turbid qi, his eyes tightly closed, and he activated the spiritual energy of the surrounding sky. A faint blue figure slowly appeared in front of Li Tian's. The powerful aura compresses the surrounding air, hot spiritual energy spurts out from the blue figure, and a powerful voice of vicissitudes emanates from it. At the end. General Li Yuanba, not protecting Tang or Chang'an, only willing to go through fire and water for the Li family for generations, never willing to die. The 2K heavenly bow of second brother, ranked second by Li Shimin, is here, and Yuanba presents it with both hands, pleading with second brother to lead Yuanba to fight for another 10,000 years. The blue figure condensed into a domineering face. Li Yuanba knelt down on one knee, and the pair of drums, jars, and golden hammers behind him made a series of sounds. A blue bow and arrow nearly 2 meters long was presented by Li Yuanba with both hands. Upon seeing this, Li Tian's couldn't help but take a cold breath. This 2K heavenly bow is based on the Xian Yuan bow. When forged, it was forged by several top extraordinary people from the Sui and Tang dynasties, using the technique of refining tools to refine it for 90.9 to 80.1 days. You can defend yourself against enemies near and block your throat with an arrow from 100 miles away. The 2K heavenly bow is the bow of the king, and ordinary crafting objects cannot even exert their own effects in front of it. This artifact has long been a legend in the alien world. With this bow, Li Tian's can stand undefeated in the Luotian festival even without guarding the spirit. Li Tian's took over the towering arch, and powerful energy continuously erupted. At this moment, a rapid knocking on the door came one after another. Li Tian's immediately put away his guardian spirit and sent the transformed Zhuge heavenly bow into his body to nourish his form with qi. Opening the door, Zhang Chulan and Feng Baobao stood in front of them. Feng Baobao stared straight at the room behind Li Tian's. The eyes that returned to simplicity seemed to have discovered the existence of the guardian spirit. Zhang Chulan scratched her head awkwardly and said, Li Tian's, Li Gu, right. My name is Zhang Chulan and I am an employee of Anywhere Tong. This is Feng Baobao, and like me, they are both from the company. Have you encountered any danger? We live next door and feel some strange fluctuations in our breath. Adhering to the principle of protecting outsiders, we specially come to care for them. Upon hearing these words, Li Tian's felt regretful in his heart. I should have asked Li Yuanba to calm down just now. Next door, there are Zhang Chulan and Feng Baobao, each of whom is more refined than the other. If his martial god body was exposed before the start of the battle, then Li Tian's would definitely become the target of criticism in the alien world. Martial spirit body and guardian spirit, a guardian spirit can withstand the power of an 8 extraordinary skill. How many of the 30.6 thieves and 8 skill holders in the Jiashan rebellion ended well? The forces of the 10 masters, the company, Chuanxing, various sects, and the alien world are intricate and complex. Among the 30.6 thieves, those who can survive either abandon their dignity or have a noble family as collateral. But Li Tian's is just an ordinary person with no background or background. With only a divine bow and an SSS-level guardian spirit now, if Li Tian's faces the entire alien world's condemnation, he will undoubtedly find a dead end on his own. Caring for him. Feng Baobao pointed at Luotian and said with a slight accent, "We suspect he is a full-sex demon. Aren't we here to investigate him? How did he become caring?" As soon as these words were spoken, Zhang Chulan's embarrassment became even more severe. He repeatedly pushed Feng Baobao aside and said, "Brotherly, don't listen to her, she's not very clever. The company knows that you are a casual cultivator with no doors or sex, and is afraid that you will be controlled by all sex demons. As long as you have nothing to do, it's okay. By the way, have you also advanced to the next round? Who are your opponents?" Zhang Chulan changed her tone. Luotian let out a long sigh, took out the signature of Zhuge, and made a look of embarrassment. "The opponent in the next round is Taoist Wang of Wudang. I just hope that Taoist Wang can show mercy." Taoist Wang. Zhang Chulan looked at her watch and said with a skeptical expression, "It's now 7 o'clock in the morning. Taoist Wang's competition has already begun. We're just going to watch the battle." Yuli Gu, have you fallen asleep and remembered the wrong time? Chapter 003. 1 to 300 odds, Zhuge Qing Persuades surrender. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 7 o'clock. Luotian looked out the window at the rising sun with a bewildered expression. Unconsciously, he had already practiced all night. The strange people who drew A and B lots outside the window all walked in groups of 3 or 5 towards the back mountain arena. "Chulan, baby, let's take a step first. See you on the field." Upon seeing this, Luotian arched his hands at Zhang Chulan and Feng Baobao. He quickly went to the competition venue. Looking at Luotian's back, Zhang Chulan scratched her head in confusion. "Bauer, did you know this Luotian before? Did you handle him too?" "I don't know." Feng Baobao's big eyes flickered and he shook his head. "I've dealt with so many melon kids, you know who he is." "Strange. Since I don't know each other, Luotian is too familiar. He calls babies one by one, which is quite affectionate." At the same time. At the scene of the Luotian de Jiao martial arts competition. The oval-shaped stands are already filled with strangers. Since yesterday, the Heavenly King also stood out with his Tai Chi Zigong. He gained a large number of fans, and Zhuge Qing from the Wuhou family even came to the first row of the stands to observe Wang Ye's every move up close. On the huge stands, countless onlookers were discussing. Will Luotian come or not? The game has been going on for so long, and in just 1 minute, even if he gives up. It's just a piece of trash picked up, probably afraid of Taoist Wang, so scared he didn't dare to come. How much skill can an outsider with no family or sect have? He's just an ant in the outsider world. Here we are. Luotian is here. But there is almost no fluctuation of true chi on this kid. Is he really an outsider? With the shout of an audience member in the stands. Everyone's attention was focused on Luotian, who appeared on the arena. Luotian is 19 years old this year, with a height of 182 centimeters. He has a small haircut and wears simple clothes, but it is hard to conceal his charming demeanor. But the most concerning thing. The chi on Luotian's body was still quite weak, even inferior to some extraordinary individuals who were enlightened in their 30s and 40s. Even if Luotian is an ordinary person, it is not an exaggeration. It's not uncommon for tourists to break into the back mountain, said the expert in intelligence collection in the alien world, Fat Hidden Dragon, pushing his glasses aside. Luotian's aura is already weak and indistinguishable from that of an ordinary person. Unless this Luotian used some secret techniques or practiced some crooked techniques to conceal his own breath. Otherwise, he is highly likely to be an ordinary person who accidentally made it to the second round. I don't care if he's an ordinary person, as long as he participates in the war, he can open the website. Bai Shishua snorted lightly and then clicked the open button on her phone. Seeing this, Lu Linglong on the side also asked with a hint of amusement, by Shishue, what is the ratio you have set for Wang Yedao's plate mouth? As soon as this sentence is spoken, the strange people on both sides of the stand stopped talking. It seems to be deliberately waiting for the winning ratio given by Shishue. 1 to 300. Bai Shishue paused word by word and gestured 3 times to the onlookers behind her. What? 1 to 300. Is Li Tian's already weak to this point? No way, Xiao Bai. Li Tian's muscles look pretty good. It's a bit embarrassing to have a 1 to 300 ratio. Perhaps. It's not that Li Tian's is weak, but because Taoist Wang Yi is too strong. Even discerning people can see that Taoist Wang Yi still has a trump card in his hand. The various outsiders in the Lu family class began to discuss, and some scattered cultivators also joined in the fun. Only Zhuge Qing, a descendant of Marquis Wu of Jiangsu and Zhejiang, sat at the other end of the stands with his younger brother Zhuge Bai. Brother, is Li Tian's really as bad as they say? Zhuge Bai looked at Li Tian's, who had already entered the center of the arena, and asked with a puzzled expression on his face. Zhuge Qing chuckled lightly and put away his specialized listening to gossip called Ting Feng Yin. They are quite right. Li Tian's has no family or faction and has never appeared in the files of the Alien Bureau. He participated in the Luotian festival this time, like a wild wolf suddenly emerging from the grass, making it impossible to see or touch. Brother, could you take a look at the interior? Li Tian's. I always feel that his aura has a familiar feeling. Zhuge Bai, who usually listens to his brother's words, took the initiative to ask Zhuge Qing to use the interior to see an unknown stranger. Zhuge Qing squinted his eyes and lowered his head, asking, do you also think that the aura on Li Tian's body is very similar to the ancestors worshipped in the Wuhe temple? No, not like ancestors, but like an ancient person, or maybe he used some kind of technique to imprison an ancient person's soul inside his body. Zhuge Bai has a unique understanding of observing things. Zhuge Qing, who had only smelled a slight odor, nodded resolutely upon hearing this. He closed his eyes and entered the inner world. Looking around at the emptiness, Zhuge Qing asked in his heart, where does the qi on Li Tian's come from? The words have just finished. A bright red ball appeared in the interior. The bright red clusters continue to grow, and the burning sensation becomes even more pressing. In just a few breaths, the bright red ball is about to occupy the entire interior scene. Zhuge Qing suddenly opened his eyes and couldn't help but burst into a cold sweat. He took a deep breath, his legs softened, and he almost collapsed on the ground. Zhuge Bai quickly helped up Zhuge Qing, who was stumbling and confused, and asked, what's wrong, brother? Did you get the answer from the inside scene? Upon hearing this, Zhuge Qing waved his hand with an ironclad expression and only said 2 words. Heavenly mystery. Tianji. Is it difficult? This Li Tian's is also related to the plunder in the alien world back then. At the same time, in the center of the Luotian de Jiao arena, with the big wave of the Dragon and Tiger Mountain Heavenly Master's hand, this battle officially began. Adhering to the ritual of becoming a monk, Taoist Wang also arched his hands and said to Li Tian's, Wudang Wang Yi, please advise. Upon seeing this, Li Tian's also clasped his fists and said in a deep voice, Li Tian's, a descendant of Li Tang, please advise. Descendants of Li Tang. Wang also trembled slightly and said with great interest, throughout the imperial families of China, there have been congenital anomalies in their bloodline. So, is Tian's brother a congenital anomaly? Taoist Wang laughed and said, I don't have enough understanding, but diligence can make up for my shortcomings. What a diligent person who can make up for his shortcomings. Brother Tian's is suitable for entering the world, not for becoming a monk. It's a pity. After Taoist Wang finished speaking, he raised his hand and brushed his sleeves, posing for battle. The momentum of the 2 rites and 4 symbols swept through the entire arena like a gust of wind at the feet of Taoist Wang Yi. Seeing this, Li Tian's tiger body trembled. Before taking action, there is such an aura. Wudang Wang Yi, one of the inheritors of the 8 wonderful skills, is truly not an ordinary person. However, the 2K Heavenly Bao, which he claims to be the pioneer of refining weapons, is not a vegetarian either. As long as you defeat Wang Yi with one strike before he uses the Wind Queen's Gate, not only can you continue to hide your strength, but you can also get an additional opportunity to draw guardian spirits. 2 birds with 1 stone, it can be said to be wonderful. Just as Li Tian's was about to gather the arches of the 2 Qing, a shout from the stands instantly halted the battle between the two. Ignoring Zhuge Bai's obstruction, Zhuge Qing shouted at Wang Yedao in the center of the arena. Wait a moment, Taoist Wang. I'm Zhuge Qing, this Li Tian's is mysterious and unpredictable. Our strength is far superior to ours, and there is no chance of winning through hard work. If Taoist Wang still has no intention of using his trump card, let's lower it now. Chapter 004. The king is also numb, and the strange door after the wind is now in the world. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What? As a descendant of Marquis Wu, Zhuge Qing actually believed that Taoist Wang would lose. How could this be? That's ridiculous. Taoist Wang Ye's Tai Chi fist has long been perfected, and Li Tian's doesn't even have a file in the Alien Bureau, he's just a wild path. Yaluzi returned to Yaluzi, but Li Tian's didn't even frown when facing Taoist Wang. How could such courage be ordinary? Zhuge Qimen is famous all over the world, and Zhuge Qing is a cautious person. Unless he really saw something, he would never disturb the arena so recklessly. On the other side of the arena, the Lu family class, the younger generation of the Tianxia Association, and the amateur cultivators all began to discuss. In their eyes, in the eyes of others in the world. As a descendant of Marquis Wu, the stereotypical label of Zhuge Qing's lineage is calmness and rationality. If something goes wrong, there will always be demons. Being able to make Zhuge Qing violate the rules and intervene in the game shows that Li Tian's strength is truly peculiar. However, at that time, the world would be long and the wind would be proud to hear this, but he pushed his reflective glasses and a meaningful smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Xing Tong, Sha Yan, after the competition, go and send some special products from the World Association to Wang Daochang. He may be just like us. The same existence, what does father mean? The wind and sand swallow's eyebrows furrowed, her face filled with suspicion. Father, as a monk, Wang Daochang does not accept external wealth. It would be more practical to invest tens of millions of dollars in Wudang Mountain, Feng Xingtong said with a smile of admiration. He believed in his father's judgment, as he was promoted to one of the top 10 at a young age. As a son, Feng Xingtong trusts his father Feng Zhenghao's abilities more than anyone else. Although I don't know which one of the 8 wonderful skills Wang Yi is the inheritor of now. However, Wang's sudden appearance at the Luotian festival destined him to have a myriad of connections with the troublemakers of the alien world. Xing Tong said, well, let's do it this way, Feng Zhenghao said, nodding slightly relieved. At the same time, Wang Ai, one of the top 10 people sitting in the stands, and LVCI, one of the top 10 people, both sneered at Zhuge Qing's judgment. I'm just a junior. I can't control my temper. How much can an outsider with no family or sect have? Do you think so, old LV? Old Wang, don't be so full of words. Have you forgotten that in those days, the rootless student gathered 30.6 disciples from prestigious and upright sections? Luci, who was blind in one eye, let out a soft snort. The arrogant Wang Ai just sneered and said, old LV, let me tell you the truth. This Li Tian's is actually an ordinary person, I paid to make up for it. He's not rootless, he's just a pitiful ant, what? Old Wang, you are indeed. LVC whose body trembled, but soon a wicked smile appeared on his face. You are indeed determined to let the Wang family master another 8 wonders skill. Upon hearing this, Wang Ai simply leaned on his cane and came to the stage, staring at Li Tian's on the arena. He couldn't help but feel a hint of doubt in his heart. Yesterday I saw Li Tian's, he was just an ordinary person who values wealth as his life. But today, I saw a few strands of blue energy on him. Is it the effect of this Longhu Mountain Fujian cave? Is it still time for me to retire due to my old age and blurred vision? At the same time, in the center of the arena, Wang Yedao furrowed his eyebrows tightly and looked at Zhuge Qing in confusion, muttering softly. Zhuge Qing, isn't his brain sick? Across from him is a small and medium-sized one. Let me throw a yarn drop, Taoist. Before he could finish speaking, Zhuge Qing, who had just disrupted the arena in the stands, was invited out of the stands. Only the timid Zhuge Bai remained curled up in the corner of the stands, making video calls with Zhuge Qing while crying. Brother, I'm afraid of being alone. Does this Taoist Wang really have a trump card? If he doesn't, why don't you make trouble for nothing? Zhuge Bai whispered to Zhuge Qing at the end of the video. Upon hearing this, Zhuge Qing just squinted his eyes and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, saying, Don't worry. Planting the cause will lead to the result, and Taoist Wang's trump card cannot be kept today at the same time. Li Tian's eyes were burning with flames, and by the time Wang Yi was distracted, he had already condensed the arch of the 2 Qing on his back. The object of refining can only release qi during use. He was waiting for an opportunity, as long as the king regained his senses, to put on a combat posture. He will use his whole body's energy to condense an arrow that is enough to look down on Xian Yuan, and before Wang also uses the Wind Queen's Gate, he will use one move to defeat the enemy. Well, brother Tians, let's start the war quickly. Wang also lazily turned around, his tone full of slackness. It seems that the small and medium-sized flat head in front of me is really not worth mentioning. Please, Taoist Wang. Li Tian's bows with one hand on the back and invites the other hand to join the moon. Wang also saw this, and the 4 symbols and 8 trigrams under his feet were once again full of energy, with powerful waves sweeping in. He sank his hands into the elixir field, and his burst of energy rose several levels stronger. Wang is only in his early 20s, and his qi is so rich that he is considered to be in the same class as the junior martial uncle Zhang Lingyu. I offended you. Wang Yi condensed his energy with both fists, stepped on his arrow step, and rushed straight towards Li Tian's. The energy of the 2 fists intersects yin and yang. The 2 visible rays of light condensed from qi went straight towards Li Tian's. No offense. Li Tian's let out a soft drink and threw the towering arch from behind directly in front of him. As a nominal acquired outsider, Li Tian's is still somewhat unfamiliar with using qi to attack for the first time. He unreservedly condensed all the energy in his body into an arrow and placed it on the arch of the 2K, ready to launch. For some reason, Li Tian's felt that he was exceptionally adept at using this Zhuge heavenly bow. Perhaps it's a charming ancestor, inheriting their own talents, whoosh. As Li Tian's drank, the towering arch of the 2K appeared, and a nearly 2-meter-long qi arrow broke through the air. Qi arrow's speed was extremely fast, and even Wang, who was only a few steps away from Li Tian's, couldn't dodge at all. Wang was also shocked and pale, but still subconsciously mobilized his whole body's energy, condensing it in the Tai Chi Yin hand, attempting to use softness to overcome hardness. But the Qi arrow came with a fierce force that could not be resisted by Tai Chi Yin's hands alone. The thrust of Qi arrow pushed the rushing king back forcefully. Grass. What is this? Wang also cursed angrily, and the whole person was in a dazed state to face the battle. Before he could summon the Tai Chi Yang hand and use the yin-yang momentum to resist the Qi arrow together. That powerful fluctuation directly shattered the 4 sets under Wang Ye's feet on the spot. The energy of yin and yang condensed on both hands dissipates with a loud bang. Qi Jian didn't give Wang Yi any chance to catch his breath and headed straight towards his eyebrows. At a critical moment, a flash of spiritual light flashed in Wang Yi's eyes, and the originally broken 4 plates were reassembled. After the wind, the strange gate, the stars move around. The Qi arrow crashed directly onto the stands behind me by a tiny difference. A terrifying sound explosion, accompanied by the hit of Qi arrows, echoed through the entire Dragon and Tiger Mountain. Such an amazing scene, everyone in the stands was speechless. Lu Linglong, Xiao Xiao, Bai Shixue, Sanlong, and others from the Lu family class were all too scared to move by the Qi arrow. Feng Zhenghao almost summoned his restrained spirit to send a general to protect his son and daughter. The arrogant Wang Ai's legs trembled and his face showed a hint of panic. Luci leaned closer to the stands and asked with a bewildered expression, "Old Wang, is this really an ordinary person?" Even the old Tianshi Zhang Jiwei, who was far away from the Tianshi mansion, could not help but put down the porridge in his hand, slightly shocked, stared at the vision in the sky, and showed a meaningful smile. "Are you descendants of the royal family? It's quite like the aura I had when I was young. Nowadays, the alien world is really like crouching tigers and hiding dragons." Chapter 005. The guardian spirit knows the sound with one hammer. Zhang Chulan is confused. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. At the same time, on the stands, Zhang Chulan, Feng Baobao, Su San, and Su Si all looked towards the huge pit that was blasted out by Li Tian's. Looking at the ruins and debris on the ground, a hint of suspicion appeared on their faces. Where exactly did Li Tian's come from as an outsider? Su Si, isn't this kid a temporary worker from another division of the company? Temporary worker. He, the combat skills of temporary workers are much richer than those of this foolish young man. This Li Tian's used his whole body's energy to deliver this blow, which was indeed quite powerful, but he didn't leave any room for himself at all. If all the temporary workers in the company work like this, they can go anywhere and even fart. Su Sidiao casually took a big puff of his cigarette, his eyes filled with disdain for Li Tian's. It seems that this foolish and inexperienced person has no qualification to compare with those mysterious and unpredictable temporary workers. Meanwhile, Zhang Chulan, who was standing beside her, said in confusion, "It's strange, it's too strange. This morning, Bauer and I ran into him when we went out, and his energy was still as weak as ants. But now, the qi on Li Tian's body has skyrocketed dozens of times. Su San and Su Si, this Li Tian's is not the full-sex demon you call him, is he? Are you a universal demon?" Feng Baobao turned his head in a daze and pointed at Li Tian's below the stage with a dull expression, saying, "Is this melon kid? Should I bury him now? Burying early and burying late are all burying. What do you think, Su San?" Su San pushed his glasses and looked helplessly at the 3 living treasures beside him. Su Si, who pretends to be sleazy, Zhang Chulan, who is more suspicious than ever, and Feng Baobao, who speaks without thinking. He now feels like a full-time nanny at TMD. "Baby, we're currently in a martial arts competition and can't do anything. Did you forget what I told you at home?" Su San was the first to stop Feng Baobao, who was about to rush down to do Li Tian's. Feng Baobao still obeyed and was pulled down by Su San to sit on the ground. Then Su San turned his gaze to Su Si, with a clear hint of resentment in his eyes. "You are the person in charge of the North China region. Li Tian's, this explosive and unstable outsider, you don't know anything about him. You're still pretending to be an egg here. I'll give you 10 minutes to find all the information about Li Tian's. If you exceed the time limit, I'll report it to my father's grave." Su Sikhang breathed a sigh of relief and waved his hand, saying, "I'm afraid of you. I'll go call each one now and ask, my good brother." As for Zhang Chulan, Su San just tapped his head and then said calmly, "Instead of caring about others, it's better to think carefully about how you should fight that single scholar. Upon hearing this, Zhang Chulan just snorted lightly and a triumphant smile appeared on the corner of her mouth, saying, Dan Shirtong, I think that guy should be on his way home now. At the same time, in the center of the arena, Wang Yi, who had dodged the Qi arrow, unexpectedly smiled at the corner of his mouth. He applauded while walking towards Li Tian's direction. You are truly a descendant of Li Tang, and I acknowledge your abilities. Your whole body's energy is now empty, and it will take at least an hour to recover. Give up, I don't want to force others into difficulties. Wang also spoke in a plain tone. He still didn't have much hostility towards the small and medium-sized inch in front of him. Perhaps Li Tian's performance just now really caught Wang's eye. But that was just a flash in the pan. Long before the start of this game, Wang has already calculated it. The probability of him defeating Li Tian's is 99%. Although I don't know why Tiandao left Li Tian's with a 1% win rate. But for him, 99% is already enough. Give up. Li Tian's breathed a sigh of relief and his gaze gradually became resolute. As a descendant of Li Tang, Taoist Wang also felt that I would choose to live a miserable life or stand and die. Li Tian's will not give up. Li Tian's cannot give up. Nowadays, he has already shown his towering arch to the eyes of many extraordinary people. Among the strange people sitting in the stands, some must have recognized that the bow he was holding was the Tu Xing heavenly bow. If you give up now. Li Tian's was kicked out of the competition for the Luotian festival in advance. Those unscrupulous people will surely flock up when he comes down the mountain. Without the protection of Longhu Mountain, how can Li Tian's defend this towering arch? How can Li Tian's protect his guardian spirit? How can Li Tian's keep his little life? So, today here, I would rather expose my guardian spirit Li Yuanba to outsiders in the world in advance. He, Li Tian's, must never take a step back. A soft persimmon holding a divine skill will only become a lamb that can be slaughtered by others in the alien world. Thief God gave him the martial god body and the guardian spirit lottery system. To make him overturn the life of his predecessor Chao Dan, rather than serving as a useless nourishment for those righteous aristocratic families in the alien world. Brother Tian's meaning, I understand. Since that's the case, I'll do my best to leave a decent face for Brother Tian's. Wang also said, waving his robe. A huge four-plate game that spanned time and space suddenly appeared at his feet. Countless plump qi continuously injects into the huge four plates between heaven and earth. And this is one of the 8 extraordinary skills that caused chaos in the alien world back then. The Feng Ho Chiman. After the wind, the strange door was slightly moved by Wang Yi, only Li Tian's could see it. Although outsiders cannot see Wang Yi's gathering of the 4 strange doors after the wind, they can clearly feel the trembling energy, like moths to the fire, condensing at Wang Yi's feet. Terrifying. This terrifying strength is enough to compete with Zhang Lingyu, the younger martial uncle of the current generation in Longhu Mountain. Before the start of the Luotian festival, people from all over the world thought that this martial arts competition was a solo performance between Zhang Lingyu and Zhuge Qing. Until now, only people from all over the world have realized it later. The waves behind the Yangtze River pushed the waves before, and after the Jiashan Rebellion, the younger generation in the alien world has ushered in a golden age. These young and extraordinary people, who are thriving like mushrooms after rain, are the best proof. Is it a strange gate after the wind? Looking at the awe-inspiring 4 sets, Li Tian's heart surged. Previously seen in anime, although stunning, it was not enough. Seeing and feeling the agility between these 4 plates with one's own eyes now is truly a skill of heaven and humanity. Taoist Wang, I have offended you. Li Tian's took a deep breath and clenched his fists. Blue qi constantly burst out from around the body. A beam of light that swallows the heavens and the earth surged straight into the sky from behind him. Next up. The blue light column keeps fading, and a transparent giant nearly 5 meters high slowly condenses into shape. In the eyes of ordinary people, this giant is no different from air. But those present are all strangers, they can clearly see the giant's ghostly face and knife-like muscles. The pair of drums, jars, and golden hammers made up of the supreme innate energy are like heaven and earth, making one's back hair curl. The next second, Li Tian's hands clasped together, and the illusory figure of the giant behind him also constantly became real. At a moment when everyone present was feeling bewildered and puzzled, Li Tian suddenly opened his eyes and shouted angrily, "Let Wang Daochang see the abilities of the descendants of Li Tang, the king of Zhao in the Western Mansion." Li Yuanba. Chapter 006. Qi by Si Zhang Kuang, Old Master unable to sit still. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The words have just finished. Li Yuanba's huge body fell to the center of the arena. On one side, there is qi condensed from the strange door after borrowing the wind from Taoist Wang Yi. On one side is the qi generated by the resonance between heaven and earth caused by Li Yuanba in the present world. Two streams of qi are constantly colliding at the center of the arena. The strong airflow formed small eddies, constantly spreading towards the strangers on the stands. Seeing that the situation was not good, the heavenly masters of Longhu Mountain, who were distributed in the four corners of the arena, quickly took action and created a huge golden light shield in the form of qi, which was fastened onto the entire stands. Oh my goodness! How strong is that spiritual body that can make the heavenly master of Longhu Mountain offer such a large scale golden light shield? Pure. So pure. The energy around that giant's body is as pure as the bright moon in the sky. It's completely different from us. If I heard you right, the name of this spiritual giant is Li Yuanba. Li Yuanba was not the invincible one in the Sui and Tang dynasties' hegemony. Was that innate alien? The spirit of an innate alien. Is it difficult? Li Tian's will restrain the spirit and send generals, but he is actually a member of the Feng family. Numerous outsiders in the stands were discussing. The spiritual giant suddenly summoned by Li Tian's is really too strong. Just the energy emanating from the body of the spirit is enough to be worshipped by many outsiders. Even the head of his own family, Feng Zhenghao, who was arrested and sent as a general, couldn't help but show a hint of suspicion on his face. However, in the suspicious eyes of Feng Zhenghao, there was a more real look of panic. The spiritual body that Li Tian's casually summoned is already comparable to the spiritual body that his Feng Zhenghao pressed down on the bottom of the box. If the technique used by Li Tian's really restricts the spirit and sends generals, Li Tian's strength must be several times or even more than 10 times stronger than the president of his own world association. Terrifying. It's too scary. A young man under the age of 20, who is just starting out, has such terrifying abilities. Is the alien world really going to change? On the other side, Wang Ai, one of the 10 masters, saw the spiritual body summoned by Li Tian's. The whole person couldn't help but open their mouth wide, and his eyes were filled with fear. Li Tian's is an ordinary person, right? Li Tian's is just a cushion. How could Li Tian's possibly summon such a powerful spiritual body? Even if he had mastered all of the spirit-restraining generals, he could not summon such a powerful spiritual body in an instant. Is it difficult? Li Tian's is pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger, and has other intentions. But just as everyone was skeptical, the huge spiritual body said in a deep voice, "General Li Yuanba, if he doesn't protect Tang or Chang'an, he will only be dispatched by second brother. I am willing to go through fire and water for the descendants of the Li family, and I will never hesitate to die." Buzzing, as soon as this sentence is spoken. The strangers present are all in mute. Especially Feng Zhenghao and Wang Ai, the two outstanding generals who control the binding spirit. They looked at each other, their eyes almost falling to the ground. The spiritual body under the control of the constrained spiritual envoy lacks autonomous consciousness. They only obey the commands of the caster, and the spiritual body is just a tool for restraining the spiritual commander. A spiritual body that is autonomous and capable of speaking. This is the first time Feng Zhenghao and Wang Ai have met. At that time, Zhuge Bai had already wrapped himself completely inside his clothes due to his timidity. He only missed a camera from his phone and aimed it at the arena. With a crying voice in his mouth, he shouted to Zhuge Qing. "Brother! Can you see it? There is a ghost-like spirit on the arena, I dare not look anymore. I want to go home, brother." "No way. Don't shake the camera." Zhuge Qing looked at the scene in the video, his small eyes lit up. Such a stunning scene. This trip is really worth it. Wang's feet are as agile as heaven and earth, with 4 huge plates. The innate alien spirit summoned by Li Tian's. Any of these orders can be compared to Zhuge Qing's martial arts skills. There are people outside, and there are heavens outside. It was only after leaving Zhuge village in Jiangsu and Zhejiang that he truly witnessed the vast world of this extraordinary person. At the same time, Wang and Li Tian's in the arena have both put on combat postures. "Brother Tian's, you have indeed left your hands behind. Wang Daochang, I am also forced to have no choice." The words have just finished. The two of them then drive the energy of the whole body. Wang Ye's qi borrows from all things and thrives endlessly. Li Tian's qi originates from heaven and earth and has a continuous source. Guardian Spirit Li Yuanba, one of the 8 wonderful skills of the Wind Queen sect. Li Tian's took the lead in challenging others. The guardian spirit behind him, Li Yuanba, drew out 2 large hammers and swung them towards Wang. The huge storm stirred by the spiritual body, and the shaking golden light shield kept trembling. "Brother Tian's, I have entered the game with my own body. I won't lose in today's martial arts competition. You'd better complete the path." Wang also shouted loudly, his fingers hanging in front of his chest. "Luan Jin Tuo." As soon as the words fell, the Wind Queen's gate under Wang Ye's feet began to spin wildly. Countless Taoist secrets have transcended time and space at this moment. But when Wang also wanted to stir the 4 sets to avoid the attack of Li Yuanba's double hammers by the chaotic Jin Tuo. But he suddenly realized. I can't even move any plate on that Feng Ho Chiman by myself. Luan Jin Tuo is ineffective. What's going on? Wang also felt numb. He was so focused that he even wanted to use brute force to move the 4 plates. But after the wind, Chiman is as stable as an old dog, motionless. Next second. Li Yuanba's 2 drum-beating jars and golden hammers suddenly fell from the sky. The huge shockwave shattered the 4 huge plates under Wang Ye's feet on the spot. The violent aftershocks also blasted out cracks on the large golden light shield guarding the stands. Even the phone held by Zhuge Bai in the stands was shattered in 2 by the aftershocks. The smoke that swept through the venue dissipated. Li Tian's was still standing in place, but Wang also stuck out his tongue, with a Venus rising from his head and fainting. 1 hit. Only 1 blow was used. Defeated the Wudang king who was still known as the Dark Horse yesterday. The onlookers on the stands couldn't help but take a cold breath when they caught a glimpse of Li Tian's small and medium-sized head. The tall Lu Linglong was so frightened that her legs trembled, and her eyes were filled with panic. Is this the strength of the outsiders outside? Grandpa is indeed right, there are all demons outside. The shrewd Wind Star pupils were even startled and burst into a cold sweat. With just 1 spiritual body, I defeated Wang Daochang with just 1 strike. Li Tian's strength is far superior to mine. Even Feng Baobao, who was not good at speaking, couldn't help but nod in agreement. Sanner, this all-around monster is quite good, it must be very challenging to bury it. Even Xia He, one of the 4 madmen who disguised himself, couldn't help but show an appreciative expression. The chi that Luotian's just burst out of has reached the level of 4 madness, it's really a good stove top at the same time. The old Celestial Master, who had just finished breakfast at the Celestial Master's mansion, tightened his expression and looked at the aftershocks of the tremors in the sky, feeling lingering palpitations. In just a few minutes, the sky showed 2 anomalies. Old Master couldn't sit still anymore. He turned his head and said in a deep voice to Tian Shidi and Lu Jin behind him. It seems that the younger generation is causing a lot of trouble. Junior brother and Lao Lu, come with me to join in the fun. Maybe there may be some unexpected gains from this Luotian festival. Chapter 007. The biggest dark horse, different people and factions throw olive branches rarely. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Can't you stand up anymore? The Taoist of Longhu Mountain, who was responsible for judging the outcome, looked at Wang Yi, who had fainted, with a shocked expression on his face. As both monks, the Taoist could feel that the blow Wang had just received was extraordinary in energy. In this martial arts competition, Wudang King also suffered a defeat and returned home. I announced that in the second round of the 1.1 competition of Jia Zhuge, the winner is Luotian's. The Taoist on the spot suddenly raised Luotian's right hand. In an official tone, it was announced that Luotian's had defeated Wang Yi and won. The golden light shield around the stands was lifted in response. There was no cheering at the scene. There is only endless silence. And the surging undercurrents of outsiders from all sides. They were all shocked beyond measure by the abilities demonstrated by Luotian's. Powerful, mysterious, unprecedented. The ability to awaken powerful spiritual bodies with self-awareness is far beyond the cognitive range of ordinary people. After being shocked, the dissidents on both sides of the stands also firmly believe in a fact: Luotian's is a treasure. No matter which faction can obtain Luotian's joining, their power will take a step up in the alien world. Xing Tong, this Luotian's is your age. You should get in touch with him. According to Jia Zhengliang's 10 times treatment, let's see if he is willing to come to work at Tianxia Huifeng. Zhanghao's eyes were filled with admiration for Luotian's. This kind of ready-to-use and potential for exploration is what the world needs the most. Father. Jia Zhengliang is not as good as Luotian's. Strangers like Luotian's have lost interest in money, right? Why don't we just give him a top-notch training room and give him some extra high-quality pills? Promise him something practical, it might be better than just giving money directly. Feng Xingtong gave a cheerful smile and expressed his own opinion. Let's do as you say. Feng Zhenghao smiled with satisfaction and patted his son's shoulder. Upon seeing this, Su San of the company couldn't help but push his glasses and take a cold breath. If such a powerful outsider does not belong to the company, it would be too difficult to deal with any ulterior motives in the future. Su Si also finished the phone call at this moment and walked back with a pale face. Upon seeing this, Su San was about to ask Luotian's about his background. But Su Si stopped him, and Su Sigu said to himself, this Luotian's lived as an ordinary person before coming to Longhu Mountain. He is currently studying in his sophomore year at Nanbukai University, and his life has been ordinary, with no connection to strangers. That is to say, there are only 2 possibilities for Luotian's to appear at the Luotian festival. Firstly, he is an ordinary person, but he accidentally awakened his abilities in Longhu Mountain. Secondly, like Zhang Chulan, he has intricate connections with the chaos in the alien world back then. However, Luotian's is hiding very well, even better than Zhang Chulan. You practiced for 10 years and rested for 10 years. This Luotian's is highly likely to have planted seeds long ago, but he hasn't practiced for 20 years, relying solely on this sudden enlightenment. As soon as these words were spoken, Su San and Zhang Chulan both trembled slightly. If Luotian's situation is really the latter, then his talent is too terrifying. With a sudden realization, one can defeat the impeccable Wudang King used by Tai Chi practitioners. If he grows up, wouldn't he become an outsider at the level of a temporary worker in the company? Su Si, recruit Li Tians. This person cannot be the enemy of the company. On the other side, Wang Ai, one of the 10 masters, had already experienced a burst of veins on his forehead. Li Tian's strength is so strong. Previously, he lied and claimed to be an ordinary person. It's simply ulterior motives. In his opinion, Li Tians must have been sent by Lao Lu or the company to specifically block these top 10 disciples. Now everyone thinks that Li Tians is a treasure. Now everyone wants to get Li Tians joining. Damn it. He has been arrogant all his life and has never suffered such an injustice. The more outsiders from all sides want to obtain Li Tians, the more he wants to destroy Li Tians. But before destroying Li Tians, we still need to torture him thoroughly. The Wang family, their favorite thing to watch is tough people kneeling on the ground begging for mercy. Wang Ai snorted lightly and, as he was about to leave, patted LVC's shoulder with a wicked expression on his face. Old LV, I have to make up my mind about Li Tians. As for the origins of Tong Tian Lu and Chidi, let's each rely on our own abilities. And LVCI just stared silently at the back of Wang Ai's departure, leaving a meaningful gaze. Sighed. Even Xia He, who was sitting steadily in the stands, couldn't help but extend his jade tongue and seductively lick the corners of his mouth. A blush appeared on her face, and her gaze at Li Tians was somewhat ambiguous. Xiao LV, can you help me get Li Tians? Sister is so greedy, sister. Stop making trouble. My great-grandfather is sitting there, how dare I move? Lu Liang, who was also disguised, just waved his hand in embarrassment when facing Xia He's unreasonable demands. He is already a guilty person, if he were to carry out a large-scale encirclement of Longhu Mountain throughout the country. If you rashly attack a contestant at the Luotian festival, his fate as LV Liang will definitely be unbearable. Forget it, I know I can't count on you. Tonight, I'll go find Li Tians and try the stove top myself. Xia He let out a soft snort, and a unique appreciation appeared in his eyes. Can we go now? Li Tians saw that the martial arts competition had ended, so he tentatively asked the little Taoist beside him. You can leave now, Mr. Li. The little Taoist gave a faint smile to Li Tians and nodded. Upon hearing this, Li Tians refused to stay longer in this highly anticipated arena. He has already exposed all his cards to the eyes of different factions. The Zhuge Heavenly Bow, Guardian Spirit Li Yuanba. This is currently my only 2 defensive trump cards. What he needs to do now is find a quiet and sparsely populated place. Wait for the system to determine the winner and proceed to the second Guardian Spirit lottery. Only before the next martial arts competition begins, can you obtain a second Guardian Spirit. Only cards that can be played in one's hand can make a small bomb. Immediately afterwards, Li Tians walked towards the nearby exit. The different factions on the stands all sent their representatives when they saw the situation. With the utmost sincerity they could offer, they all blocked the exit side of Li Tians. The people from the company, the people from all over the world, the people from the top 10, and even the head of the Lu family have started recruiting Li Tians without authorization. Li Tians couldn't help but take a cold breath upon seeing this scene. The world of flowers is enchanting. Who knows if this is true or false? Now it sounds good, including food and accommodation, with generous benefits. But when I see Xinjiang, maybe it's just a matter of breaking hands and feet, and forcing a confession with severe punishment. He doesn't want to sit in a wheelchair like Mr. Tian Jinzhong for his whole life, not even daring to close his eyes. But at this moment, a powerful true energy came from behind everyone. After feeling it, the crowd of strangers gave way one after another. Immediately, the old master pushed Tian Jinzhong, who was sitting in a wheelchair, and walked straight to Li Tians with a reluctant expression on his face. Young generation, did you bring out the strange phenomena of heaven and earth just now? It's really impressive, but it really has a bit of my youthful energy. The old master squinted his already small eyes and nodded to Luotian as a gesture. Seeing such a truly imposing young generation, Zhang Jiwei has lived in vain for over 100 years, but the next second, the old master accidentally left a huge hole in the wall behind Luotian. In an instant, the old celestial master opened his eyes wide and pointed to the damaged wall, asking with a wooden expression. Junior. Is this also what you did? This talisman stone wall is the property of the Heavenly Master's mansion, you broke the stone wall. This is to be compensated. Money of. Chapter 008. 3 questions from the Heavenly Master. I only need the Heavenly Talisman. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Compensation. Compensation. Luotian looked at Old Master in confusion. Are you coming all the way here to make me lose money? As the host of the Heavenly Master Mansion, can't we be more generous? Upon hearing this, the Heavenly Master lightly stroked his long beard and nodded. Of course we have to lose money, this is the rule of Longhu Mountain. If you dare to default, I will push Tian Junior Brother out as a hidden weapon to show you, younger generation, the bloodthirsty nature of Dragon and Tiger Mountain, Senior Brother. Tian Jinzhong, sitting in a wheelchair, said with a black face and indignation, if you lose money, you lose money. Why did you make me a hidden weapon? Don't worry, Master Tian. The company will pay for this money. We have not yet received a response from Luotian. On the side, Su San handed a check directly to the old master. The old master held the check and looked at the sunlight for a while. But those narrow eyes only showed a puzzled expression. As I get older, it's not easy to use my eyes. Lao Lu, please show me how much it costs. Is it enough to compensate me for this stone wall? Lu Jin glanced at the Heavenly Master and took the check that was universal. Don't worry, old master. This check can compensate you with a new arena. Lu Jin returned the full 800,000 yuan check to the Heavenly Master. And the Heavenly Master did not refuse either. The Heavenly Master carefully carried this kind of check into his arms and immediately said to Luotian and a few people who knew everything. Then I won't be polite to you. The extra money, let's just treat it as the incense money you gave to Longhu Mountain. That's right, that's right. The company is willing to offer incense to Longhu Mountain. Su Si snorted lightly, showing a slightly wild heart. Su San scolded Su Si and switched the conversation, saying, we didn't give you this money. It was given to you in the name of Luotian and has nothing to do with the company. As soon as this sentence is spoken, the different factions present couldn't help but speak in silence. What does Su San mean by saying this? I haven't received Luotian's consent yet. Did you just include Luotian as your own person in the company? This approach is probably too bold. You can't rely on your family's big business and bright red color to oppress all the sects and sects in the alien world like this. Even though many people may feel uneasy, no one dares to step forward and take responsibility for the company's arbitrary actions. Only Lu Jin, who is known as one of the 10 most flawless people in his life, said. The company is rich and powerful. What kind of official is Luotian with you? Senior Lu laughed and said, Luotian hasn't officially joined anywhere Tong yet. It's up to him to make his own decisions. Su San pushed his glasses and replied in the tone of a younger generation. Upon hearing this, Lu Jin stopped speaking and just snorted lightly. But at this moment, the old master grabbed Luotian's shoulder. When Luotian had not yet regained his senses, the old master slowly injected the true energy into Luotian's body. Did our ancestors have spiritual bodies? The amount of true energy is so great that it truly deserves to be a descendant of Li Tang. The old master relaxed his hand and nodded to Luotian in satisfaction. The Heavenly Master is overpraised. Luotian bowed his hand and said humbly. I am the eldest on Longhu Mountain, don't mess with these formalities. Old Master knocked off Li Tian's arched hands with a single blow, then his eyes became serious and he asked in a deep voice. I'll just say it straight. Li Tian's, you are attending the Luotian festival. Is it for the position of the Heavenly Master, or is it for the Tongtian book? Or are you like them, for the rumored source and flow of qi buzzing, as soon as this sentence is spoken? The strange people who were already silenced by Su San completely fell silent. This is something that Old Master dared to speak frankly to everyone. If 2 or 1 people were to be replaced, they would probably be half killed by the old ones among the 10. The origin and flow of qi body are often remembered by many people. It is because as one of the 8 wonderful skills, it has never been obtained by any force. According to the consensus of the alien world, these 8 unique skills, as long as they belong to the individual, are ownerless. Only when the 8 wonders belong to a prestigious sect can it be considered as having a master and a legacy. Even if they are not the creators of this 8 wonders skill. If I were to return to the Heavenly Master, I am here for the purpose of the Heavenly Talisman. Li Tian's touched his middle and small inches and responded in detail. This is his most genuine thought in his heart. Having already fallen deeply into the world of strangers and arrived at the Luotian festival. So he can't just take advantage of the system and walk around empty-handed, can he? Nestled in Longhu Mountain as a lifelong Heavenly Master, he wouldn't do it even if he died. Kutong Tian Lu is one of the 8 extraordinary skills. Drawing runes by hand is okay even if you haven't practiced runes. The talismans they summon have extraordinary abilities, and they may be close to playing top-level high-end games, but in the current process of this alien world. The Tong Tian Lu can definitely be considered as an ability in the upper half of the strength zone. After obtaining the Tong Tian technique, he also gained an additional ability to protect himself. After mastering the Heavenly Talisman proficiently, perhaps you can still hang a 5-strength talisman as an off-field buff for the guardian spirit. The most important point is, this heavenly tail was exposed to sunlight. Behind it, there is also Senior Lu Jin and the entire Lu family as support. The world is different, everyone can take it. Even the seemingly immortal like LVCI and Wang Ai dare not easily engage in a showdown with Senior Lu Jin. Only for the purpose of the heavenly tail. The old lady asked again. Just for the purpose of obtaining the crown of Tong Tian Lu, I will immediately leave Longhu Mountain. Not bad. The old master nodded. Before Li Tian's could speak, the old celestial teacher asked him again. I see that your true energy is strong, but I can see a faint shadow. To be honest, how long have you been practicing so far? How long have you been practicing once this problem arises? Both the company and the younger generation of the Lu family listened attentively. Especially not for Bai Lian Zhang Chulan, who is very concerned about Li Tian's background. If Li Tian said he started practicing 20 years ago, Li Tian is likely also a descendant of the Jiashan rebellion back then. But if Li Tian said he only started practicing last night, so Li Tian he is a complete genius. Everyone held their breath and focused, afraid to miss a word. Upon hearing this, Li Tian simply smiled and said calmly. Old Master Tian's eyes are full of wisdom. It is true that the younger generation has only practiced overnight and achieved such a breakthrough in strength. Mainly because Longhu Mountain is a treasure trove of feng shui, nourishing the heart and lungs. There is a familiar force within the body, which unconsciously flourishes when I broke through my strength to such a level overnight. The strange people around couldn't help but look envious upon hearing these words. As leaders of various sects, none of them have been practicing since childhood, enduring as much hardship and suffering as much beating. To have today's shining performance like a flash in the pan. But Li Tian in front of him said that all the qi on his body was trained overnight. Isn't this equivalent to slapping the faces of these strange people like them? However, this ambiguous answer made Zhang Chulan somewhat dissatisfied. There is both an overnight breakthrough and a familiar power within the body. Zhang Chulan is difficult to judge. What exactly is the composition of Luotians? You have a good understanding, you young man are really adventurous. I will reward you for your adventurous spirit. The old master said, as if suddenly getting stuck, lost in thought. And at this moment, a cold electronic sound echoed into Luotian's ears. Ding! According to the system's judgment, you have successfully defeated one of the 8 wonder skill holders, Wang Yi. Congratulations on obtaining 99 Guardian Spirit proficiency points. Proficiency accumulation exceeds 100%. Congratulations on winning the Guardian Spirit lottery. Limited to 1 hour, please immediately draw the Guardian Spirit. No time to wait. Hush. Dog system. Surprisingly, they even gave back a time limit. Luotian looked at the panel popping up in front of him and couldn't help but curse in his heart. Nowadays, there are many people with mixed eyes. It's unclear whether you can find a clean place within an hour after escaping from here. Not to mention the extraction of guardian spirits, which can attract supernatural phenomena from heaven and earth. Now I am already standing at the forefront of the storm. If discovered by other aliens, can the 2 guardian spirits on this body still be preserved? It's not a waste to fight one by one, but there are many disciples from various sects, and they can't withstand their attacks with numbers. Just as Luotian was worried, he saw the old master who was also worried at a glance. Immediately, Luotian arched his hands and smiled at the old master, saying, "The younger generation's true energy is still intangible and requires more practice. If the Heavenly Master doesn't mind, then reward me with a clean practice room on Longhu Mountain." Chapter 009. Smooth journey to the Heavenly Master's mansion, extract the second guardian spirit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Reader master, you've all seen this. Use your wealthy hands at a bookshelf, that's a great idea. The old master was immediately enlightened by Luotian's words and said, "There are many empty rooms in the Heavenly Master's mansion. It doesn't matter if I give you one, you can live next door to me. From now on, you Luotian will be my guest at Longhu Mountain. As long as you enter Longhu Mountain, the Heavenly Master's mansion will protect you." As soon as this sentence is spoken, the extraordinary people only then realized. Where did the Heavenly Master come to seek compensation during this trip? This is just to send background to Luotian. Luotian demonstrated extraordinary abilities in the battle with Wang Yi. Even in today's alien world, it is extremely rare. Rare things are precious. Old Master Tian doesn't want Zhang Huai's tragic situation to be reproduced in the current Luotian festival. A considerable number of unscrupulous individuals may show some disdain for the words of the Heavenly Master. Even if you can protect Luotian on Longhu Mountain for a while, can you still protect him for a lifetime? Luotian was also aware of it in his heart. The old master had a love for talent, which is why he saved himself with the death-free gold medal from the Heavenly Master. Those so-called noble and righteous sects will not openly embarrass themselves on the Dragon and Tiger Mountain. But after leaving the novice village of Longhu Mountain, I am still at the center of the storm. No one covets this powerful ability that has emerged out of nowhere. The top priority is to strengthen one's own strength. During the period of the Luotian festival, try to defeat the 8 legendary techniques or 10 men as much as possible. To obtain proficiency, extract the guardian spirit. As for whether to join a foreign sect or not, still to be considered. It's true that leaning against a big tree is good for shade. But with a support, there are also restrictions. It's not something that descendants of emperors can tolerate when it comes to doing things. Since activating Li Tang's bloodline and binding his martial spirit body, Luotian always felt that his personality was also evolving towards the direction of a local emperor. Thank you very much, Master Tian. Luotian regained his senses and repeatedly thanked him. Then he was pulled back to the Heavenly Master's mansion by the old Heavenly Master. Before leaving, the old celestial teacher gave Zhang Chulan a glance and said. Chulan, is your competition in the afternoon? There's plenty of time, why don't you come over with me too? I want to talk to you, yes. Upon hearing this, Zhang Chulan followed up with a thud. Not long. Zhang Chulan and Li Tians were taken away from the venue of the Luotian festival. And those dissidents from various factions who harbored ill intentions towards Li Tians also left the scene one after another. Only Su San and his team, who knew everything, as well as Feng Zhenghao and his team, who knew everything in the world, silently followed behind the old celestial master. Within the Heavenly Master's mansion, there are 30.6 upper rooms. Only a dozen or so scattered rooms were occupied by Taoist priests. The old master pushed open a central door and pointed to the simple layout of the room, saying, Tians, this room will be yours from now on. You should start practicing well first. I still have some important things to do. I am right next door to you. If there are any unexpected guests, I will take care of them for you. Master Tian, walk slowly. Upon hearing this, Li Tian's face showed a hint of smile. This is the clean place he wants. In the Heavenly Master's mansion, who dares to cause trouble next door, the old Heavenly Master. Li Tians entered the room and closed the door. Zhang Chulan also followed Old Master and his group into the middle room. A few people who knew everything and all the people in the world had to stand outside the door waiting. At the same time. Who? Li Tians sat cross-legged on the ground, taking a long sigh of relief. He took off his shirt and was already soaked in sweat. Just started the battle with Wang Yi and played 2 cards in a row, which consumed too much of Jinqi. After all, I am just a novice outsider. If I only use this level of true energy reserves to confront the enemy. Once he encounters an experienced and magical alien, he is bound to be defeated. The reserves of true Qi are all accumulated from a young age. The speed at which an outsider reserves true energy will be relatively slower. He has not experienced 10 years of cultivation, and there is very little true energy in his body. If we start a war of attrition, we may not be able to hold on for even a dozen rounds. To improve this biggest disadvantage. Relying on a year and a half of last-minute cramming is absolutely impossible. The only way is to make it to the finals and win the Tongtian book. By leveraging the ability of the Heavenly Talisman to draw talismans out of thin air, create a 5-fold strengthening talisman for self-enhancement. This is the best strategy. And I want to make it to the finals. We need more blessings from guardian spirits. Li Yuanba performed exceptionally well today, with extraordinary abilities. But Li Yuanba's abilities have already been partially demonstrated today. When it comes to the semi-finals in the future, they will definitely be deliberately targeted by their opponents. In a situation where the opponent knows it like the palm of their hand. I want to win a game that is evenly matched. What is the most important thing? Bottom card, backhand. Surprise is the key to victory. And Li Tian's trump card is a constant supply of guardian spirits. Extracting the second guardian spirit is imminent. System, immediately draw the second guardian spirit. Li Tians let out a soft drink. The blue system panel suddenly pops up. A cold electronic sound immediately rang out. Ding. Extracting guardian spirits for the host. Next up. A huge blue turntable descended out of thin air. Hundreds of Tang dynasty heroes were once again listed in front of Li Tians. Amidst the shimmering golden light, there are even more talented individuals in both literature and martial arts who do not show any respect for their generals. Among the people and martial spirits that can be extracted, Li Yuanba is already considered the ultimate. If you can have a divine or immortal martial spirit, then you can add wings like a tiger. But who are the divine martial spirits and immortal martial spirits of the Tang dynasty? Wei Zheng, who slays dragons in his dream. Feng Shui Master Yuan Tiangang. Isn't it a bad handsome person who breaks through the sky with just one sword? Next second. The blue turntable came to a sudden stop. A familiar electronic sound once again entered Luotian's ears. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the extraction. The guardian spirit extracted this time is a human martial spirit. Ranked 6th in comprehensive strength as human martial spirit. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the strongest 3-board axe in history. The Demon King of the World, Qing Yaojin. Guardian Spirit Li Yuanba's proficiency has reached 100%. Can use the combination technique of human and spirit with Li Yuanba. Weng Jin Dang Ko Hammer. Current Guardian Spirit Qing Bites Gold Proficiency. 30%. System Prompt. When the host gains 3 fully skilled Guardian Spirits, you can choose any Guardian Spirit to awaken the Ghost King's power. Wishing the host an early unification of the alien realm and a return to Li Tang's dominance. The words have just finished. A blood-red beam of light shot up from Luotian's room. A huge figure, nearly 3 meters high, slowly emerged from the bloody beam of light. Qing Yaojin was as strong as a fierce elephant, carrying a giant axe that was 2 people high, and he followed suit step by step. Every step he takes forward, the entire Tianshi mansion shakes violently for a while. With the birth of Qing Yaojin, there is a new phenomenon between heaven and earth. The blood-colored beam of light returns to one point. A breathtaking and majestic aura constantly gushed out of Luotian's room. The terrifying amount of true energy left both outsiders guarding outside the door bewildered. Su San squatted down with a resentful expression on his face, looking at the vaporized and concrete true qi, and took a cold breath. Such terrifying true qi. Is this still an outsider? If it were an outsider, it would be an old demon that has been practiced for thousands of years, right? Su Si couldn't help but tremble slightly upon seeing this and said, Luotians. What exactly are you? On the side of the world, the wind will be long and the wind will be strong. His eyebrows will furrow, and his face will show panic. This reserve of true energy is even greater than mine. The World Congress must obtain Luotians. This sun cannot be leaked. Even the old master next door stopped talking to Zhang Chulan and turned to look at the vision in the sky. Descendants of Li Tang. Triggered 3 celestial phenomena in just half a day, and participated in the Luotian festival with such skill. Is it difficult to turn over my dragon and tiger mountain? Chapter 010 Sincerity from the company. You and Su Sanping sit on equal footing. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Master Tian, this kid's cultivation is like a war, with extraordinary momentum. He really looks a bit like me when I was young. Lu Jin stared at the waves of red true energy seeping in, with a hint of appreciation in his eyes. The strength of an outsider is not determined by age, but rather the application of true energy and techniques. Only during cultivation can such a powerful true qi wave erupt, indicating its profound skill. Lao Lu. What are you boasting about? The old master gave Lu Jin a disdainful glance and said, the younger generation of the Li family has caused 3 celestial anomalies within half a day. How come I don't remember, when you were young, practicing your functions caused a strange phenomenon in heaven and earth, you? When Lu Jin heard the words, her face turned red and she pointed at the old Tianshi but could not answer. The slap from the old celestial teacher Zhang Jiwei fell. Created the shadow of Lu Jin's life. Having lived for over 100 years, he still felt lingering fear in the palm of the old master. Lao Lu, after all these years, his skin is still so thick. If you're interested in this young man, just take him back to the Lu family and become a closed-door disciple. The old master joked a bit. Upon hearing this, Lu Jin looked as if he had seen through everything and said, Master Tian, it's not me who is interested in this young man, but you old man, right? What's the truth? The heavenly master waved his hand, I have already said that I will no longer accept disciples through personal transmission. Are you trying to embarrass me in public and disrespect me? Genius can make exceptions, don't you think, old master? Lu Jin and old master hooked up, with a meaningful smile on their faces. At the same time, Li Tian's next door looked at the bloody guardian spirit Qing Yaojin in front of him. Although it looks majestic, it's big enough. But he couldn't help but feel a hint of displeasure. Why is he a damn warrior? Although the generals of the Tang dynasty have good looks, they want to draw out divine and immortal martial spirits. He was definitely not an ordinary general during his lifetime, was he? Even generals at the level of Li Yuanba can only be personal martial spirits. Visible to extract the gods and immortal martial spirits from the Tang dynasty pond, it must be closely related to the identity in front of the guardian spirit. My charming ancestor, who fights and guards the rivers and mountains, sweats profusely all day long. Not just using generals, right? Where is Wei Zheng? What about Changsun Wuji? Where is Yuan Tiangang and Li Chunfeng? What about Li Xingyun, a bad handsome man who is devoted to rejuvenation? System, can you explain it to me? Did you really adjust the probability of the lottery by yourself? Li Tians called out the system and muttered softly. The next electronic sound in the system. But it made Li Tians suddenly realize. Ding! Warm reminder from the system. Stay calm and calm. Try to gain the recognition of the guardians. The host can only draw guardian spirits recognized by the host in the prize pool. Can only recognize your own guardian spirit. Li Tians swallowed his saliva and asked incredulously, so, is there a limit to the guardian spirit lottery? The system panel flashed again, with a prominent line of bold blue text on it. The guardian spirits in the lottery pool can be seen from the host's daily performance. The more magnificent your will is like that of the great Tang Xiongju, the easier it is to gain the recognition of the guardian spirits. The easier it is to extract guardian spirits with higher rarity. Seeing this, Li Tians nodded suddenly. This system really has principles. The process of truly storing guardian spirits is not much different. Recalling the Chao Yanbing in Zhenhuan Street, while subduing the guardian spirit. It also started with the likes of Su Chu, Jian Wei, and others who were obsessed with tigers. Later, there were gradually talented generals such as Su Huang and Zhang He. In this way, it can also make these self-awareness guardians more convinced of themselves. If we don't follow this rule, when the time comes, we will extract a second or fifth child who does not recognize us. Even if those 2 or 5 kids are strong. When it comes to a critical moment, if the guardian spirit doesn't help, wouldn't it end the calf on the spot? The last general Qing Yaojin is willing to go through fire and water for the descendants of the Tang dynasty, and never refuse to die. Qing Yaojin arched his hands, and his blood-red true energy kept surging outward. These guardian spirits themselves have extremely rich reserves of true energy. Unfortunately, the true energy of the guardian spirit cannot be lent to the host for use. Otherwise, Li Tians would be invincible immediately. He even dares to slap the old master next door. However, let's not talk about lustful thoughts. The most important thing now is to get one of the 8 wonderful skills, the Tong Tian book, as soon as possible. Just as Li Tians confirmed his goal, a hurried knocking on the door rang through his ears. Li Tians felt the large number of strangers outside the door. With a big wave of his hand, he quickly collected the guardian spirit Qing Yaojin he had just drawn into his martial god body. Buzzing, at the moment when Qing Yaojin entered the body of the martial god, Li Tians felt his head lighten, and his true energy on the whole body became even thicker. Every time you receive a guardian spirit, your own strength will also increase to a certain extent. This is common sense. But what he didn't expect was, Qing Yaojin seems to be more in line with his true qi form pulse, indicating an increase in his strength. Almost elevating one's own realm to a higher level. Tians, have you finished your cultivation yet? The company wants to talk to you. Brotherly, the people from the company are coming late. You'd better meet us from all over the world first. Li Tians hesitated for a second just as he opened the door. The two strangers outside the door began to argue. Upon seeing this, Li Tians inside the room even stopped the action of opening the door. If we let them come in together at this time. That must be a battle of words and scholars. Chaos leads to errors. Nowadays, Li Tians is the thorn in the side of these prestigious and upright families. He can't make any mistakes. Exactly. Didn't the system tell itself? Only with a personality and style that is similar to the imperial aura of the Tang dynasty patriarch. Only then can more and rarer guardian spirits recognize themselves. Then follow the system of ancient dynasties. One by one, come in and report. Let's be advanced in everything we know. Li Tians said in a very plain tone, everyone has advanced 800,000 yuan in compensation for me. I, Li Tians, am not the kind of ungrateful wolf dog. This kind of preferential treatment is still deserved. Su San and Su Si outside the door exchanged a glance and nodded to each other. Su Si pushed open the door and entered first. Su San followed closely behind, not forgetting to smile at Feng Zhenghao behind him before entering the door. I'm really sorry, President Feng. Let's go first. Please do as you please, both of you. Feng Zhenghao tried his best to conceal his displeasure, and a blue vein appeared on his forehead. Su San and Su Si entered, while Feng Baobao was outside staring at Feng Zhenghao, afraid of being overheard by him. Tians, you must have just become a stranger, haven't you? Your true energy is not fake, but it's not as effective as my half-hearted skills when used. Su San pushed his glasses and praised in a different way. On the side, Su Si disdainfully pushed Su San away. Then he took out a contract and a pen from his pocket. It was directly filmed in front of Li Tians. Li Tians, after Su San's strong recommendation, combined with your outstanding performance at the Luotian festival, the North China division of the company has decided to grant you the status of a full-time employee of Anywhere Pass, with doubled benefits and paid annual leave. However, after further discussion, the headquarters has drafted a new employment contract for you. Li Tians has been specially appointed as the assistant in charge of the North China division by Naidu Tong for a 6-month probationary period, during which he will enjoy the same treatment as Su San. Also, you have one more privilege than Su San, which is that you have the right to mobilize temporary workers in the North China and Northeast regions.